What's up, Capital Wastelanders? Today's the start of what may be a familiar series to some of you, but this time set way out east. A little while back I had cast a poll, and you guys decided that our next batch of Faction Warriors fun will be here in the DC area, so that's what we're doing. Just like back in the Mojave, we're leading off with the Chinese Remnant. I had so much fun playing as that unit that I figured it would be perfect for us to lead off with. And, I see you guys really liked that video. Oh, and before we get down to the nitty-gritty, I accidentally gave myself too much ammo because I started from the Dave file when I ran as President Dave not too long ago. But that save file is under Butch, as that was my first Fallout 3 challenge here on the channel. But don't worry, I do catch this error, and I will remove the extra 5.56 from my inventory. Some of the 10mm ammo came from inside of the Vault 101, so that was just kind of convenient for us. Anyway, with that cleared up, for those of you who are new here, first off, welcome. It's great to have you along for the ride. Faction Warriors is a series where I take a unit from a Fallout game and try to clear the main story with as few battles as possible, and that happens to coincide with trying to go fast. Unlike my typical challenges here on this channel, we're not in character in any way, nor do I pull from the unit's special allocation. I came up with my own for this series, though some units may have minor differences as we go on. For our Chinese Remnant, I went with this, and you can see it on screen as well. 2 strength, since we wear very light armor and none of what we carry is particularly heavy. Perception will always be the dump stat while we max out charisma for the speech checks. Intelligence is 9 because we could just bump it up to 10 whenever we hit Dr. Lee's lab in Rivet City. I use the leftover points for a little bit of extra endurance for more health, and luck because crits are cool. For tagged skills, I went with speech, so we got a little shot in the arm there, medicine for better healing, and melee so we hit a little harder with our sword. I figure we'll get some serious mileage out of it. And since the save file cleared the intro, we'll always have the plus 10 from the medicine bobblehead. Oh, and one more note about skipping the intro. We're going to take the final time and subtract it from when we left Vault 101. I took a screenshot of it, and you'll see it at the end of the run. Armed with an awesome AR, a great sword, and a passable 10mm, I'd say our Chinese Remnant's going to do pretty well here. And now, depending on which unit we play, we're going to go to different areas at different times, and I'm thinking that our Chinese Remnant is strong enough to go straight to Jefferson Memorial right out of the gate. Yep, I figure we're going to take this bad boy and go straight to the heart of where the mutants are, not even going to Rivet City for that bobblehead. But don't you worry, we will go get that intelligence bobblehead here in a little bit, though. Right now, we got some muties to hunt down. And I figure to start things off, I'll go ahead and bust out our Chinese pistol. It's a little better for pot-shotting at range. There's only a couple big greens on this side of Jefferson Memorial, so taking them out shouldn't be too difficult. But we're not going to battle these guys with the pistol specifically. Taking cover behind the tree and whipping out our sword, we're going to bring the enemy to us. The Chinese officer sword is an extremely good melee weapon in the early game. And considering that we're not doing any content outside of the main story, I imagine this weapon will be consistently good throughout the course of this entire run. The Chinese Remnants are the last of a covert military operation in DC. Now, this operation was made a lot easier due to Chinese support in the United States before the bombs went off. The operatives we encounter in the Capital Wasteland come from Mama Dulce's food processing plant and was used as a cover-up for operations in the DC area. 200 years after the bombs dropped, these guys are still very much dedicated to their mission and continue to be hostile to any and all outsiders, we'll say, here in the Capital Wasteland, whether you're a human, a ghoul, super mutants, etc. If you're not with the Remnants, you're an enemy. It's a bit of a shame, honestly. It would have been pretty cool to interact with these guys. It's a good thing we're not in character in this run, because Liberty Prime would probably go berserk at the sight of our character. Speaking of which, we do have a ghoul aesthetic, but that's what it is, just an aesthetic. I wanted to capture the feel of a Chinese Remnant, so I went and got a playable ghoul mod for Fallout 3. I have one for Fallout New Vegas as well. And while I may not be in character, I do still want to look the part as best I can. And gotta say, with our weaponry, these super mutants stand absolutely no chance against us. We're gonna go ahead and clear this place out so that once we rescue James, we can come right back here. And then we can continue on with the main story. Oh, and one other thing, since we are doing the main story here, we are obviously skipping over everything with 3-Dog in the DC area because you can skip over it if you know where to find James. I do enjoy those parts with 3-Dog, going to the Museum of Tech, all that good stuff, but that takes up a lot of time, and we're trying to go fast and fight as little as possible. The super mutant brutes have quite a bit of health for our level and deal quite a bit of damage, but still, no match for us. Alright, we'll head to the basement, take out the super mutants who are lurking down there, and we'll be done here. And I figure once we clear them out, just to save up on healing, we can rest in the bed for an hour. A little mechanic that carried over from Oblivion, absolutely love it. And with that one dropped, it's only a matter of time before they find us, which is what we want. Lure them to us, gun them down. Might even switch to the sword and give that a little bit of, blood soaking, if you will. I do consider switching to our officer sword, but I'm like, nah, we're gonna gun that guy down, and to conserve our 556, switch over to the Chinese pistol, take out this super mutant brute, and then we've only got 2 more to go, and then we will switch to the sword because we'll be in close quarters combat. Plus, there's usually a mutant down here with a nail board or a sledgehammer, so we can parry that. Sure am glad that these super mutant brutes tend to wield assault rifles. That gives us a bit more 556 ammo. I figure after this, we'll go ahead and stop over to Rivet City, get our intelligence bobblehead, then pay Shrapnel a visit because he usually has a fair bit of 556 in stock. And, wow, we demolished Jefferson Memorial. Coming here first was the play. All said and done, we'll swing on over to Rivet City like we talked about. Grab that intelligence bobblehead, which will boost it to 10, which gives us more skill points. And then once we get the perk Educated, we're going to be swimming in skill points. Next up, we're going to fast travel back to Megaton and then make our way west to go to Smith Casey's garage. We're not going to go inside of Vault 112 just yet. After we discover Smith Casey's garage, I figure it'd be smart for us to swing on up north, get Lamplight on our fast travel point, then we can circle back, rescue James, and then continue with the main story. Before that, though, as you see on screen here at Megaton, I'm making a little pit stop over to the little, the hollowed out rock because there's a stealth boy inside. Gonna need that for a little bit later on the run. So with that pest control out of the way and our loot secured, now we're gonna head over to Smith Casey's garage. You know, I was seriously considering getting Moira Brown's Mole Rat quest, but I was like, nah, that wastes time, no need for it. It's just that I encountered a lot of mole rats getting to Smith Casey's garage, plus the ones outside of Megaton. And with this routing, turns out something pretty interesting is gonna happen here, something I haven't actually seen before. As you guys know, as you make your way up to Lamplight, there's always a pair of super mutants attacking the Brahmin. Nothing really special about this encounter outside of it, just, you know, super mutants probably wanting to kill these Brahmin because they're hungry, even though they tend to prefer eating humans. Nothing wrong with some beef, right? But when I got to this little pasture here, there was only one super mutant. I mean, very easy to kill, no problems, but there's always 2 of them. The other one may be close by or something, because we are in caution, but I never end up seeing that second one. Again, something new that I thought was pretty interesting. Also good for us, the less battles, the better. And as we make our way to that little outhouse just outside of the caverns, gonna go ahead and loot that place, all that good stuff, and we end up dinging to level 3 via exploring. I always love when that happens. Now, in addition to speech, I want to get our science and our lockpick to 50. You'll see why a little bit later. But for now, let's go back to Smith Casey's garage, clear it out, go through Tranquility Lane. Of course, we're gonna do the failsafe because it's way faster, rescue James, and then we're gonna head back to Rivet City. Oh, and if you're wondering why Tranquility Lane is covered like this, like it's real life, that's from one of the mods I'm using. Any mod I use, credit to the developers, is always in the description below. Oh, and when I said we're going to go back to Rivet City, what I actually meant was we're going to go to Rivet City, kick James in the butt, get him and the scientist on over to Jefferson Memorial, and then we are going to pick up with the main story when it doesn't involve a bunch of dialogue that has no bearing on the challenge. And this, I'm sure, is what our Chinese Remnant captain has been waiting for. Yeah, I went with the captain's inventory. There's a whole bunch on screen now. Actually, wait, not on screen just yet. We're going to take out this American Enclave soldier. And it could be spread, but we're not dealing that much damage with our Chinese AR. A little unfortunate, but not too much of a problem. All we gotta do is close the gap, switch to our officer sword. It does a lot more damage, and you can tell that I'm used to our character challenges where I don't use flashlight or VATS. Okay, on screen now are the different Chinese remnants. I went with the captain because it had the most stuff I thought it would make for the most interesting run. But they're all part of the faction warriors, because they are awesome. Now, normally I would cut this part out, but I learned something. I mean, I'm sure you guys know about this, but I didn't, and I thought this was the coolest thing ever. Now, I know that you can pickpocket Colonel Autumn and even James whenever he falls, but I didn't know that pickpocketing Autumn, failing at it, just had him trigger to shoot the scientist and move things along. I am so doing this in every Faction Warriors run going forward. Moral of the story, it pays to steal. As for tap tunnels, pretty standard stuff. Just gonna go ahead and use our officer's sword here. I use VATS to make sure that I target the right creature. Yes, Alex Dargan is a creature. I hate protecting these scientists. But we're trying to go as fast as possible. If I accidentally injure one of them, they're gonna run around, and you gotta wait for them to calm down. Or you could kill them, but that would also waste time. And once it comes to dealing with the Garza situation, we have more than a high enough speech check to convince Dr. Lee to leave Garza behind, which nets us a lot of XP. So now we could just make a beeline straight for the end. That little bit of experience points per Pharaoh Ghoul is adding up a bit. We want to try and be around level 6 or 7 by the end of the game. I think we'll hit 7 anyway. Anyway, once we're done here, we escort the scientists to the Citadel, and then we go back to Lamplight. Now, because we took Child at Heart, we can skip over the Paradise Falls quest. That would add a lot of time and have us battle a lot of extra enemies that I don't really want to fight. Once we're good to go, we can go ahead and find Joseph, who can unlock that terminal for us. That's what we have our 50 science skill for. The terminal, to skip over Murder Pass, you need at least 50 in science. There are no skill magazines here in Fallout 3, so we have to invest our points very carefully. That's one of the things I really like about the perk system in this game. You know, they're not the most exciting, but for these challenges, the perks like Daddy's Boy and Scoundrel are absolutely amazing. It only takes me about a minute to unlock the terminal because I am terrible at that minigame. It's actually very fast for me. Now, as we enter Murder Pass, before we commence with the attack, when we go inside, open the safe, grab the stuff on the desk, all that good stuff, we're going to backtrack a little bit and go to the final room of Murder Pass where there are no enemies, but there's a lot of useful stuff there that we can get, including a second stealth blade, which we're going to need too. It may seem like we're slowing down a bit here, but going slow here will make us go faster later. Trust me. I'm not a doctor, but you can trust Kami Raz all the same. Yeah, that's what I named this character. Very creative, I know. As we get ready to throw down with the first of many super mutants, gonna go ahead and switch to our Chinese AR. I got plenty of ammo, courtesy of our boy Shrapnel. And while VATS does waste a bit of time, it is worth a time sink here because we critically hit that super mutant with a sneak attack and take him out straight away, despite the fact we were in caution. That was pretty sweet, actually. Then all we gotta do is lure the other one, use our officer's sword to save on ammunition, and we're good to go. This one's a brute, so it takes a hot minute, but in the end, we are victorious. The good general would be very proud. For the final super mutant in this area, I do go for VATS. Not really worth the time sink there. Didn't deal much damage. But after the fact, we do take him out with just a few more swings. This little trick here is good for isolating super mutants. Pull them, close the door. They have to open the door so you can switch to a weapon you want to use. The officer's sword in our case makes very quick work of the big green. And although we are not in character, Chinese Remnants being infiltrators, I think is going off without a hitch. Not just here, but coming up. We're going to lure the next super mutant from the balcony up there, the walkway. Lure him down, wait for him to open the door for a wonderful little surprise. It rhymes with hats. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, it's VATS mode. I gotta tell you, coming back to Faction Warriors where I can use VATS whenever I want is pretty awesome. Now again, if you're new, in my character challenges, and challenges where I'm running a character who canonically doesn't have a Pip-Boy, like the Lone Wanderer, the Courier, or Butch Deloria, a couple challenges I did with him, I don't use VATS mode. It was an idea given to me, and I really liked it. But losing out on VATS for melee is kind of a shame because VATS in melee deals double damage. Okay, so you know how I went to get the first Stealth Boy outside of Megaton? Well, in the interest of avoiding battles and saving time, we have two of them too, thankfully, so as we go ahead and prepare, drop a quick save, all that good stuff. Oh, and have a drink of that irradiated water that wouldn't hurt our ghoul in any way if this were more than a cosmetic mod. We'll go ahead and pop the first of our two and bypass quite a few super mutants. Not only is this in the spirit of the challenge, but we're saving on ammo, which also saves on weapon durability, saves on healing, all that good stuff. Still, though, there's no Day Tripper, or there's no Logan's Loophole. Using a Stealth Boy means we have to go fast. Time is of the essence. Now, you might think it's a time sink to save Fox, but not really, because you can get Fox to move forward and help you if you're under attack, so rescuing him, definitely in our best interest. He can soak a bunch of hits for us. Now, you might think that because we have Fox, or about to have him anyway, that we're going to go let him get the Gek. Now, that would be a waste of time because he takes his jolly old time going to get it, which is fine casually. But in Faction Warriors, we are going to go get the Gek. It's actually been a very long time since I've gotten the Gek myself because in the character runs, every character that we played as obviously is going to send Fox in to go get it because Fox is immune to radiation and our character isn't. Our Chinese Remnant should be, but again, cosmetic, not an actual ghoul. So would that make this faction warrior a Chinese Remnant ghoul LARPer? Cosplayer? While we figure out the answer to very important questions here, getting captured by Colonel Mustard, I'm sure the good Colonel holds a bit of a grudge and is probably mildly terrified of the fact that a ghoul managed to slip his hand like it's ethereal into his pocket, only to fail at grabbing a handful of 10mm bullets. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was kind of a shame that the Enclave and the Chinese Remnants didn't interact. I mean, the Enclave is the remnants of the United States government, and the Chinese Remnants, well, that speaks for itself, right? That could have been a really interesting plot point. Oh, and I did make a mistake with this officer. I thought the option I checked was going to unlock the charisma check. There's a charisma check where it's only a couple of text boxes and then you move on. The speech check, I mean, at least we bypassed the encounter, but it does waste a little bit of time. However, we do get a bit of experience, so, you know, not the worst thing ever. Now we're going to use Stealth Boy number 2 to bypass the encounter with the Enclave soldiers here. Gonna make our way to Colonel Autumn's room because we can get some awesome stuff from his footlocker, which includes a bunch of buff out, a bunch of mentats, a boatload of 10mm ammo, and a Zax holotape that we can use to bypass any need for a speech check when it comes to our confrontation with Eden. It's little stuff like that that I really love about this game, where it's like if you take the time to explore Raven Rock, you find cool little stuff like that. And yeah, we are going to abandon the energy weapons bobblehead, unfortunately, but this playthrough is just a one-off, so no need for it. And from here, all we gotta do is make our way out of Raven Rock, and I will engage with the first couple of Enclave soldiers just so they don't shoot us in the back. But after that, we can have the sentry bots cover our escape, and as we're making our way out, we do take a bit of a beating because the last door is closed, and as we open it, there's a lot of little fireworks going off back there. The 4th of July, they're a little late on that. I guess that's how they use their missile launchers around here. But once we're outside, Fox mows down the Enclave goons for us, and we are absolutely going to bring him with us. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to skip over Liberty Prime because as fun as that giant robot is at blowing stuff up, we have no input, and Liberty Prime basically plays that part of the game for us, so Jefferson Memorial time! We can also finally make use of that Yogwite meat that we, appropriated from Grandma Sparkle earlier on. Yeah, she's definitely gonna be the Georgia boy of Fallout 3 because, I mean, not only can we get all of our caps back when we kill her, when we raid her fridge, we can get a bunch of extra loot. Now that's playing like a true Chinese Remnant right there. Hostile to all outsiders, leave no survivors. And honestly, not much to say about the final battle. The combined effort of our Remnant, Sarah Lyons, and Fox obliterates the Enclave goons here. Now, because we've been investing in speech the entire time, we're going to go ahead and talk down Colonel Autumn, and thankfully we do. I say thankfully because 85%, there's always that chance of failing. Having talked down Colonel Mustard and removed him from the game of Clue, the run is now over. Now, earlier on, I mentioned that I have a screenshot of our time when we're right about to enter the Capital Wasteland for the first time. Well, it's on screen now. 23 minutes and 57 seconds. We're just going to round up to 24, make everyone's lives a little easier. But yeah, that was really fun. The Chinese Remnant, just like back in the Mojave Wasteland, kicked a lot of butt here in the Capital Wasteland back at home. So with the time on screen, we can go ahead and calculate that with our final in-game time here right before we activate Project Purity. Well, I actually have to make a save file and then check. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's about what I expected. That was a solid performance on behalf of our Chinese Remnant. Very awesome, super fun run. A very awesome way to get back into Faction Warriors DC Edition. So what is our final time for our first contender of Fallout 3 Faction Warriors? 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 53 seconds. Very nice. Hope you guys enjoyed that run. Next up is the Talon Company Merc, and stay tuned for other challenges such as Fallout 3 as 3Dog, and Fallout New Vegas as Cooper Howard. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll catch you at the next episode. Later.